What would you do if the most influential engineer in F1 history revealed a car that breaks all current design patterns? What if I told you that car is already changing the way other teams are developing their cars? Today we are going to talk about the revelation of the AMR26 and how this aerodynamic bomb from Aston Martin is putting the entire Formula One grid in check. The car was not revealed with a typical media ceremony. Aston Martin opted for a much more measured strategy. But when the first leaked images of the car began to circulate, the most experienced technical analysts immediately detected unconventional patterns. It was not an evolution of the AMR25. It was something else. A radical change in philosophy, a deliberate break with previous molds. And all signs pointed to one name, Newey. Although his signing has not yet been officially confirmed, various sources in the paddock maintain that the Briton offered key advice to the Aston Martin technical team, especially regarding the design of the car's lower airflow. This is a crucial detail. The floor of the car is today the most vital area in generating downforce under the current regulations. And what Aston Martin did was completely change the logic of vortex distribution around the edges of the ground, taking inspiration from the concepts that made the RB18 a dominant car in 2022. The underside of the AMR26 features a double contour design with aggressive internal channeling, something not seen on this generation of car. This approach would, in theory, allow the car to hold more load at medium speeds without compromising straight-line stability, a combination extremely difficult to achieve with current limits on minimum height and ground stiffness. The objective: control the porpoising phenomenon without losing efficiency in long, high-speed corners. But it doesn't end there. Another area where the AMR26 has made a leap is in the geometry of the side pods. Most teams had converged toward a slide design that channels lateral air toward the rear of the car. Aston Martin has taken that concept and taken it further, applying a dual vertical cut system in the side pods, where small cavities are created that not only redirect the flow, but accelerate it before reaching the rear diffusers. This increases the depression under the car and improves the performance of the diffuser, especially on circuits with medium load corners. The presentation of the AMR26 was not only a revelation for the media and fans. It was a direct wake-up call to the leading teams. In a championship as millimetric as modern Formula One, any radical change, and even more so one supported by the shadow of Adrian Newey, generates an immediate effect on the technical departments of its rivals. And what happened in the weeks after the presentation was precisely that, a domino effect within the McLaren, Red Bull, and Mercedes factories. McLaren was the first to react. They were coming off a 2024 season where, after a brilliant evolution of the MCL38, they achieved their first constructors' title in more than 2 decades. For 2025, they presented the MCL39, a car that, in principle, was committed to a meticulous evolution, based on the optimization of its performance in fast corners and stability under long braking. But when analyzing the AMR26, its engineers detected a threat. The Aston Martin could be much more efficient in slow, mixed corners, the MCL39's Achilles heel. Immediately, the team led by Andrea Stella activated an internal early adaptation protocol. The objective: to study the geometry of the AMR26 floor and its behavior under high vertical load. The most significant decision was to temporarily halt development of its next aerodynamic package planned for Imola, to redirect resources towards a redesign of the flatbed, assessing whether Aston Martin's solutions could be replicated or reinterpreted within the McLaren concept without compromising its overall balance. This technical turn is revealing. McLaren, historically conservative in its mid-season developments, is showing unusual flexibility. Because they know that they cannot afford to be reactive in a championship where every tenth can make the difference between victory and mediocrity. The pressure is on Woking, but so is the ambition. The problem is not just performance. It is internal credibility. Red Bull's decisions are being questioned, even within its own ecosystem. The emergency call that directly involved Verstappen in the redesign of the car reflects that the team is feeling the impact of the AMR26, even without Aston Martin having shown its full potential in the race. The fear is not that the AMR26 will be fast today. The real fear is what he could become in the next 5 races if his developments progress unopposed. And that's where Mercedes comes in. The W15 has demonstrated clear improvements over its predecessor, especially in longitudinal stability and tire thermal management. But Toto Wolff and his coaching staff know that they are still running behind. Its aerodynamic package remains the least efficient of the top 4, especially in fast transition phases. The most striking thing is that in Bahrain and Melbourne, engineers from the German team were caught analyzing specific areas of the AMR26, especially the side pod inlet and the rear diffuser, with unusual attention. The most impressive thing is not that a new car is causing concern. What's really scary for McLaren, Red Bull and Mercedes is that for the first time since 2020, a team outside the Big Three appears to have grasped the technical essence of the regulations and is ready to exploit it in a way that only Adrian Newey seemed capable of executing. No one is going to admit it publicly, but everyone is looking at Aston Martin, not as a theoretical threat, but as the new reference point. The most surprising thing about the AMR26 is not only its radical design or the rumors that point to the involvement of Adrian Newey. The truly revolutionary thing is that this technical work is tailored to a particular driver, Fernando Alonso. At 43 years old, the two-time world champion not only remains competitive, but has come to play a central role in the architecture of this project. From mid-2024, Alonso not only participated in development testing more intensely than any other driver on the grid, but also pushed internally to completely restructure the car's philosophy. For Aston Martin, this was not a risk. It was a deliberate commitment to build a car around the technical, mental, and strategic strengths of the Asturian driver. The result of that bet is visible in every detail of the AMR26. The more rearward position of the cockpit, the new suspension system that improves response in slow corners, and the reconfiguration of the mass balance are designed to favor the driving style that has characterized Alonso since his years at Renault. Aggressive in braking, patient in traction, and with an unmatched ability to improvise under pressure. In the words of the team's internal engineers, Fernando's technical feedback has been more precise than that of any simulator. During the correlation tests between CFD, wind tunnel, and real track, many of the car's fine adjustments were born directly from the sessions in which Alonso indicated exact points where the flow was lost, or where the load descended under certain angles of attack. The team itself admitted that, on more than one occasion, they discarded computer data to follow the pilot's intuition. That is the magnitude of his influence. But the key question is, can that custom design turn into real wins? Or are we facing a technical mirage fueled by powerful names and aesthetic promises? The first clue was given to us by the race in Australia. Although Alonso retired due to a brake system failure, the long runs prior to the problem showed a competitive race pace, especially in mixed conditions. The car showed good stability in corner entries, but most impressive was the traction in wet track conditions, where the AMR26 managed to reduce rear skid without loss of speed on straights. This points to a very well-achieved balance between the aerodynamic package and the powertrain. But beyond the track, there is a factor that can be even more determining: Alonso's motivation. This could be his last full year in Formula One. He has hinted at it in interviews, he has dropped it in private conversations, but he has never been as explicit as now in his desire to close his career with a car that lives up to his legend. For him, the AMR26 is more than a car. It is the culmination of 2 decades of frustration, of halfway projects, of wasted potential due to wrong technical decisions by other teams. At Aston Martin, he has found something that eluded him for years: control. In addition, there is a geopolitical component within the team. The team is preparing to become one of the main players in the 2026 regulations, when the new Honda power unit comes into play. The AMR26, according to insiders, is not just this year's car. It's a rolling laboratory, a testing ground to validate concepts that will be scaled up in 2026 when Aston Martin becomes an official motorcycle team. This makes Alonso more than just a driver. He is the first beta tester of a platform that points to the future. Fernando Alonso has waited years for this opportunity, and Formula One has proven time and time again that when a driver with his experience, talent, and determination is given a tool designed just for him, extraordinary things can happen. Perhaps the AMR26 is not the best car on all circuits. Maybe it doesn't have the energy efficiency of Mercedes or the cornering of McLaren. But he has a unique advantage: he is aligned body and soul with the smartest driver on the grid. And if the AMR26 is what it seems, the best is yet to come. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.